Okay, Jenny, we're live.
Great, thank you. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Administrative Review Team meeting on April the 8th, 2021. With that, I'll call our meeting to order. And Lori, if you will call the roll, that would be great.
Certainly. Mr. Fagrell?
Here.
Mr. Stanford?
Here.
Mr. Hamilton?
Here.
Corporal Morris?
Here.
Ms. Roush? And then finally, Ms. Gilger, please.
Yes, here.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. On our agenda today, we have one set of meeting minutes from March the 11th. And I didn't see any corrections come through from anybody. So unless anybody has anything, I will make a motion to approve the March 11th minutes. If somebody could second.
I'll second.
Thank you, Colleen. And Lori, if you call the roll, please.
Mr. Stanford?
Yes.
Mr. Korosky?
Yes.
Corporal Morris?
Yes.
Mr. Hamilton?
Yes.
Mr. Fagrell?
Yes.
Ms. Gilger?
Yes.
And Ms. Roush?
Yes. Thank you, Lori. We had in your packet included a minor modification that was approved by planning staff, just for everyone's reference. So that was for a sign face replacement for Caldwell Banker. So that was included for you. No action is needed on that today. We have one introduction and 3 determinations. And the first introduction is for Mesh Fitness at 6678 Riverside Drive for exterior modifications. And Chase is going to be our presenter today. So I will let him talk through those proposed improvements, and then we'll have some discussion amongst the group and get some feedback for the applicant before they proceed with a determination. When you're ready, Chase, we're ready.
Great, thank you. So as was mentioned, this is an introduction to a minor project review for exterior modifications for the Mesh Fitness location in Bridge Park. There we go. So the site is outlined in yellow. It is within Block C of the Bridge Park development, and this tenant space in particular, indicated by the yellow star, is in Building C2 of that development. So this is located at the southeast corner of the intersection of Tulare Ridge Drive with Riverside Drive. So these photos show some of the existing conditions of the site. You'll notice the existing overhang with the amenity space above it. This is really just serving as an open area at this point. There's no furniture. And this is located at the entry of Mesh Fitness, which you can kind of see in the middle of the photo here. So this patio space is a permitted patio. It is not part of the open space required with this development. So what you see here is the proposed patio layout. The applicant is proposing to install a number of furniture fixtures, including tables and chairs, some built-in benches, as well as some high top kind of bar seating with stools. The applicant is proposing a number of hanging planters. So these are indicated centrally in the patio space by these circles. The staff has some concerns with these planters, particularly the size and potential weight, which I'll show in more detail later on in this presentation. So we're looking for feedback today from you all on those planters, and also should they remain moving forward, staff would want to see the clearance that's provided under those planters. The applicant is also proposing a number of planter boxes, primarily on the west side of the patio, kind of creating separation between the walkway and this patio space. The applicant is also proposing some wood screens on the north and south faces of the patio area, and is also proposing a overhead garage door, which is indicated in the blue rectangle on the screen. So these are some elevations. You can see on the left-hand side is a typical north-south elevation with that proposed wood screening. And then also the west elevation is shown here, and this gives you a greater idea of the entire scope of the project. So here you see the planter boxes along the west edge of the patio space, as well as the bar stool seating directly behind that. On the left side of that picture, you can see the garage door, overhead door proposed to replace the existing storefront. And then also the large planter baskets in the center portion of the patio space. And then these are some interior patio renderings. So again, you can see kind of the layout of the furniture that's proposed, as well as the planter baskets. And then just some final details. These are furniture selections provided by the applicant. So again, bar stool seating, as well as more traditional table and chairs. And then the flower basket is shown on the right-hand side here. So they are proposed to be 42 inches in diameter. Should those remain moving forward, the applicant should provide details on how those are affixed to the ceiling to ensure adequate connection there. And so with that, staff has provided a couple of discussion questions for the ART's consideration. The first being, is the ART supportive of the character of the patio space? The second, is the ART supportive of the proposed materials and furniture selections? And the third, is the ART supportive of the proposed landscape treatments, including the planter boxes, as well as the planter baskets? And then, of course, any other considerations by the ART. So I'm happy to answer any questions you all may have, and the applicant is also in attendance today. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Chase. Does anybody have any initial questions for Chase before I allow the applicant the opportunity to share any additional information? Don't think so. Matt, I see that you're on here. Are you here to speak to this, or do you have additional people with you that want to share any information with us?
No, I got drafted for this one.
Okay.
I was on vacation. So.
Is there anything else that you wanted to share that Chase didn't highlight or talk through before we discuss?
Yeah, I just a little bit about it. There's definitely some functional elements to this as well. Obviously, the side, there's a big wind tunnel that heads down that north-south area. The screens are not only for aesthetics, but they're a lot for kind of breaking up that wind function, but doing it in a way that you still see through it. I think there was a material type question. It will be cedar, just like the cedar box is all natural materials on those. Being a health and wellness facility, it was recently announced that Coach acquired this facility, which is the other building across the river, but it's actually trying to integrate a wellness facility, connecting the bridge on both sides of the bridge. That being said, what we really want to do is focus, since it is a health and wellness facility, a lot of greenery, a lot of like live plants in the front, natural tones, because of the health and wellness vibe that we're trying to provide. The hanging baskets we thought were critical to design because the ceiling is unbelievably tall, and it makes it very non-intimate when you get in there. There is structural steel above the drop plastic ceiling. We already committed to getting this approved by Bridge Park before bringing it. We agreed to work with them in attaching the planter boxes to the actual structural steel up above, making sure that it was safe. We'll make sure of that. The plants and the hanging baskets are actually artificial to make it look real, like we have in a lot of our other spaces, because of maintenance and dripping water on people's heads and things like that. We will have to put, they're actually super light. They're almost too light. They're going to be too light due to the winds. Therefore, we will actually put gravel in the bottom to make them heavy so they do not swing, hence the need to put on the structural steel up above. And the rest, the flowers in the front will be changed by season. As far as, I didn't really give a description, but You know, in the fall, we'll have the pretty fall stuff, and the spring, we'll have the pretty spring stuff. So I know that's not the traditional technical terms you use, but that's what I don't really have the vocabulary of a botanist. So that being said, I will happy to answer any questions you have. Oh, the garage door is important because we're trying to open up and connect the interior space to the outside. There's actually a very fancy golf simulator and other stuff going inside, which opens up to the outdoors, which members will have to be able to use for entertainment with their kids and kickball, as well as golf lessons and crap like that.
Great, thank you. That's helpful because that answered some of my questions. So with that, Chase had a number of discussion questions, or I guess maybe before that, does anybody have any questions for Matt about the details?
So this area is going to be used, you're going to be like selling food inside that they can come out and eat, or just a congregating place, or what is it?
Yeah, it's a couple things. One is it's a brand entry. That patio has been stark for too long. It's too cold. So we want to make sure that people understand just the brand presence of what we build inside and how nice it is. But at the end of the day, it's a member patio for congregation sitting down after a workout to potentially bring their laptop and sit there as well and get an hour's worth of work in between workouts and things like that. No, we don't sell food on the inside. So it'll be mostly congregational relaxation. Member events. So with all the new park stuff happening right in front of us, we want to be able to have a member area for people to sit down and relax with their family as they maybe watch a 4th of July parade or something.
Great, any other questions? So the questions that Chase posed were related to the first one is the proposed character of the patio. So I guess I want to hear from everybody sort of what their thoughts are on that. And again, if you feel comfortable talking about all three of them, we can definitely sort of take it as a whole, but we can start with the character piece of that. Does anybody have any? Yes, Sean, go ahead.
Well, I'm a little concerned. I mean, the wall, so to speak, maybe it's just too high. It seems to wall off the space quite a bit, and you're losing some of the interaction and liveliness of the street. And as you said, to watch parades and stuff, I think, yeah, for those sitting down behind, you're going to lose some of that connection. So I'm a little leery on the walled off presentation to the street that this creates. I guess I don't mind. I like the planters. I think the planters are a good idea. I'm sad that there's not real live plants in it, especially after we talked about wanting the live, plants and the refreshingness of it and such. I know it would be a challenge to get things growing up there. My initial thought was to ask if the two back ones would need to be moved out, flanking or that, so they could get more light. But I guess if it's approved to be artificial, then that's pointless. So I guess we'll have to get through that question as well. And then on the side slats, I don't mind it. I think that's kind of attractive. But from the wind tunnel aspect that you brought up, are you planning on putting clear, like acrylic in between the slats so that you start to block that wind tunnel, or are you just trying to mitigate it a little bit because the wind's still going to blast through there regardless? So I guess those are my points to start with.
Cool. Yeah, the points to knock down part of it, not to put plexiglass, that'll cheapen the whole thing. I don't like that. We're just going to try to knock down a little bit of the wind. If there is a bigger wind problem, we have the luxury of coming back and saying we want to add a few more boards. But for now, we want to leave it like that. As far as the logic behind the height, we need to create it. I didn't want a standard fence rail, so it's just slightly taller than that. It is actually a bar top height where you sit out and look out onto the street and onto the patio. And we did want to create a little bit of segmentation where you feel like you are on a patio and not just on the street too. So we wanted to have a compromise of both of those. So we thought it was important to, it's not much taller than the existing planters that are around all over Bridge Park too.
Who else?
Oh, and yeah, sorry, your last part is that I didn't think there's any way possible with no light, an enclosed patio, water and dripping things that I'd be able to build live plants up there. Not to mention, we do have the ability to quote, it was way too expensive, but I might come back and say there's a seasonal version that for Christmas, I could actually take the insert out and put a Christmas one up inside of that and switch them out. At this point, we have not done that. And I do want some guidance on that too. If I do switch it out with Christmas to come back again, or can I switch it out for Christmas?
Yeah, no, you'd be able to do that.
Okay.
It's really more about, just making sure that's included as part of the approval. Okay, no, that's helpful. Thank you, Sean and Matt, for your information. Colleen, do you want to go next?
So I'm actually okay with the height wall, just because I know it's going to be a member amenity. So you know, even though it is open, I appreciate the higher wall to kind of give some of that, you know, amenity to members, you know, to kind of give it that cue that it's not just an open seating area for the general public. I think it's a nice amenity to have. I appreciate, you know, the connection to both sides of the river, and I could see, you know, even some Cohatch people wanting to come over here and work in that environment, doing some outside work. So I think, you know, aesthetically, I'm a-okay with it, and I don't have any issues with the height wall.
Okay. Aaron, do you want to go next?
Yeah, I think it's a nice addition, and just for clarification, because I didn't see anything marked on there. Chase, is there anything that's proposed in the right of way with this work?
There's not any work proposed in the right of way with this one.
Okay. No, I mean, I think we want to encourage. I mean, we've seen it through a lot of different areas in Bridge Park that we want to encourage, and there's a high demand for outdoor space, right? And we want to activate those streets. So, you know, I think anything that we can do within reason to encourage that and provide those opportunities, I think is a great thing for the district.
Great, thank you, Aaron. Chad, do you want to go next?
I don't have any comments right now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Corporal Morris?
I don't have any comments.
Okay, thank you. And Brad, I think you're my last one.
I say what Colleen said.
Ditto. Okay. Okay, that sounds good. Yeah, I mean, yeah, go for it, Sean.
One more thing. Just looking at it from the exterior, maybe it's just to create less of a flat plane. Can it like each of those planters push in just a little bit so that you have a little variation in that face? Maybe that's part of what I'm not liking as much, because it is such a flat plane.
So it would mimic similar what's on the north and south side, where the slats are like they're not flush with the edge of the column.
Yeah, and I don't think it has to go all the way to the back either, right? You could put it somewhere in the middle, or just slightly, you know, inset, so that it's not just a face.
Oh, so you're talking, I got it. So I was thinking, so there is a step in the bench where the plants kind of break it up. You're talking about us moving it back a few inches so that it feels like the columns don't get lost. Is that what you're saying?
Correct.
Yeah,
That
okay.
might give it just enough interest and break.
Sure, I have no problem with that. The only thing I'm pretty sure the clearances are fine with the furniture layout, but
yeah,
otherwise it's not a big deal.
Okay, well, Chase can help you work through that to make sure you get your space for your furniture on the inside, and still maybe try to maintain those columns separately. That's a good point, Sean. Okay. Yeah, my initial questions were about the materials, because I like that cedar look that's on the side. So you're confirmed that the front planters will match that in material and colors. Did I hear you say that correctly, Matt?
Yeah, I'll be built out of natural cedar.
Yeah, because I think that looks nice. It makes it feel softened. Okay.
Is it a clear seal then, or are you thinking of a different color? I mean, it kind of shows clear here, I think, but we didn't talk about that.
It'll be a clear seal eventually. You have to let it sit for a breathing period, but it'd be a clear seal, and then cleaned and then sealed every couple years.
The only other piece of that, just to confirm too, depending on what wood of that cedar you get, as we found out in the ceiling of our restroom facility in the park, you can get a lot of variation in color, from almost black to blonde white, in that wood, unless you specify a specific range. So I guess if you're looking for this more blonde look that's consistent, making sure that that's specified that way.
Yeah, we built the same thing at our Easton space. We already built it once, so it's we like the lighter woods. We get it where we get it from. So I agree with you. We'll make sure there's no weird variations. Yeah.
Okay. The other one there were the garage doors, and if anybody had any issues or concerns with the garage doors as part of that. Anybody? Thumbs up, thumbs down. Okay.
I had a quick question on that. It's a procedural question. I actually forgot. We're actually entertaining putting a garage door on the opposite side of the building too, where you first walk in. So it opens, you know how the North Market, everything opens, right? And just brings the street into the building. One of the biggest challenges we had is just getting people to walk into a gym once they see it. We actually thought about opening that front window up so that you could see straight in and do that, because all those windows were tinted. You can't actually, you have to put your face up against them to see through it. Is this something that I need to come back if I want to add another garage door tour on that side, or is that something I could include with this application?
You could include that as part of this, honestly, then you don't have to come back, because we would need to see it, but yeah, that's fine. Work with Chase to include that next time we see it. That's pretty straightforward, so. Okay. Did that answer your question, Matt?
Yeah, is this do I find out approval today or no?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, we were just introducing it today, so I mean, it'll be back before us for formal approval at the next meeting. So you could include that. I don't have the date in front of me.
Yeah, Matt, so I had discussed that with Eliza. The next scheduled meeting is May 13th.
Oh, okay. Because it's spring. All right.
So the only other item I think that Chase was requesting feedback on was furniture, the patio furniture that's proposed there. Did anybody have any comments or questions about the furniture?
The furniture is in 6 to 8 week lead time due to the COVID world of the planet. If I actually order this stuff, is there a chance it gets rejected during the next meeting? So I have to wait 8 weeks after May 13th.
Yeah, I think that's why it's a good point. That's why I wanted to get everybody's feedback today, because if they're okay with it, then that should be pretty straightforward. So does anybody have any issues? I just had a question about, it looked like it was a good variety of things, and just whether that the group ART felt that was appropriate, or they wanted more continuity amongst the different pieces of furniture. Does anybody have any concerns or thoughts about that?
Jenny,
See the picture again.
Yeah, can we bring it back on the screen?
I mean, you obviously need a variety to fit with the different seating options. I just wasn't sure what everybody's thoughts or feedback was about design, or if there should be additional coordination amongst them, or colors or things like that. Can't see everybody, so if somebody has something to say, you're gonna have to speak up.
Can we see the other one that shows kind of the layout of how it's in there?
I mean, like the tables are cedar based concrete tops. There's a lot of monotone stuff. We thought it was important to kind of then you have the bench seating on the left, which is a little bit more monotone. The only real color is the chairs. And the flowers.
Yeah, I think those colors have been used in other areas around the Bridge Park, so to me, it doesn't matter.
Okay. Aaron or Brad?
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I think it looks good.
Okay, that sounds good. Any other feedback you need from ART Chase to move this forward?
Yeah, I had one other thing. We had discussed internally amongst planning staff that some of the existing cedar boxes in Bridge Park, specifically, I want to say outside of Cap City, maybe are not weathering very well. So I don't know, maybe Sean or anyone that has more familiarity with that material. Are you okay with the cedar material with it being so close to the ground?
I guess you'd have to see a real detail on how they're constructed to really know for sure if there's spacers or that. You can't tell from the renderings. I mean, I know it's close. They have water drainage. It'll happen and it'll be on the sidewalk, which is not a great thing, but it's an unfortunate evil of planters, right? It's really getting the sealer right and timing, making sure it's maintained. And if we put that as part of as part of a condition and approval, that it's something that is resealed within so many years every time.
It's actually the only wood to use if you don't want to go. I mean, you use teak, but you're going to use cedar for outdoor wood or a fake polywood, which I don't want to use.
Yeah, I mean, the wood's fine. It's just a matter of keeping it sealed so that it weathers or doesn't weather, to a color that's going to be not as nice if you're trying to maintain a specific color. And if some of it gets, the sealer goes away and it weathers differently than other parts, and you start seeing different colors. So that would be the only reason to put that kind of stipulation on it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, that's helpful. And, maybe we can internally discuss how to word any conditions of approval regarding that item. So thank you.
And maybe to your point, if your question, Matt, about timing, we can look at our calendar to see if there's another way to squeeze in an ART meeting between that to keep you moving sooner rather than later. We used to meet on a bi-monthly basis. So because we don't have as many cases, we don't have as many agenda items, so we meet less. But we did discuss amongst ourselves that if there was a need for an additional meeting in order to expedite things, we can definitely accommodate that. So let us look at the calendar and see if we can get you back here for the middle of May to accommodate this. And then you can add another garage door item too if you want to. Then you don't have to come back for that later. So
I appreciate that. I just want to get you said the next meeting was when?
It's not until the middle of like May 13th, so we can look and see if there's something here at the end of April that we can squeeze in another date.
Well, honestly, I probably won't do the construction until after May 13th. My biggest issue is placing the furniture order. So I would probably do that. I was planning on doing the construction in mid-May when I do some of the other stuff at Co. As long as I can order the furniture and not be yelled at if I or get it rejected because I can't return it.
Yeah, no, I think that, again, based on everybody's comments, that seemed like everybody was supportive of that as you move forward. So
all right, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, does anybody have anything else on this? I didn't see any. Oh, go ahead, sorry.
I have one more item. So I'm not sure if there's any sprinklers underneath that canopy. So if there are any, you got to be careful with placing the hanging planters blocking into the sprinkler spray or those garage doors if they fold up and somehow restrict the spray of the sprinklers.
Yeah, I appreciate that. The garage doors goes inside. I actually have to modify the sprinklers on the inside. That's a different permit that's coming in through the city. And then I'll double check. We'll definitely make sure that I don't think the fire department's gonna let me make a mistake there. So I'll make sure that it's right on the outside.
Yeah, but I just make sure you look at it now rather than get out there and hang it up and then we tell you it's wrong and then you got to change it.
I appreciate that.
Okay, great. And I didn't see any public comment come through for this, Chase, so I think we're good on that front. Okay, so with that, Matt, then we'll let you work with Chase on making sure we have all the details to move forward and timing and things like that. So do you have any other
Great.
questions for us?
No, that's it. Thank you, guys.
Great, thank you.
Thanks, Matt.
Okay, so the next item is a determination for Cheesecake Girl at 4345 West Dublin Granville Road. So this is the installation of a new wall sign for a tenant within the shops at River Ridge, and Zach is going to be our presenter.
Thank you, Jenny. Well, good afternoon. This is an application for review and determination of a minor project for the Cheesecake Girl. Cheesecake Girl is located within the shops at River Ridge, which is located just south of West Dublin Granville Road and east of Riverside Drive. This site is zoned Bridge Street District Commercial. The shopping center was developed prior to the implementation of the Bridge Street District. So there was an amendment in February 2017 by City Council that allows for signs to be required to comply with regulations set forth in the standard zoning code for buildings or existing structures that do not meet the requirements of the district until those existing structures are redeveloped to meet the intent and requirements of the district. Shown on the screen is the front elevation of the tenant space in consideration, as tenant space is 34 linear feet in size. This tenant was before the ART in January with some exterior modifications to the existing awnings, and they were approved for light blue and white striped awnings, as well as a service bay service window on the east elevation of the building. So shown on the screen is the proposed wall sign. This wall sign is approximately 14 square feet in size, while sitting approximately 10 feet in height above the entrance into the tenant space. The sign is constructed of a 3/4 inch thick high density urethane panel with two colors utilized, both matching the approved light blue and white awnings, as that is the brand for the Cheesecake Girl. The background of the sign will be the light blue, and there will be a white copy in the white inset border. Both the copy and the border will be routed in the sign. The applicant will also be required to, or following approval or determination here, the applicant would be required to submit for a sign permit through building standards before constructing the sign. Planning staff has reviewed this application to all applicable criteria and are recommending approval with the one condition regarding the sign permit. I'm happy to answer any questions that the team may have. Thank you.
Thank you, Zach. Before we start, Chase, is there any public comment for this application?
There are no public comments.
Thank you. So does anybody have any concerns or questions related to this before I have the applicant share any additional information? Okay. Oh, Aaron, yes.
Yeah, real simple question. It didn't look like there was any lighting for that sign. Is that the existing condition? It will remain that way?
Yeah, it'll be non-illuminated.
Okay, thank you.
Cindy, are you the applicant for this?
I am, and it is not illuminated. I just wanted to make sure you knew that.
Okay. Anything else you want to add to Zach's presentation?
Nope, he did an excellent job.
Okay, good. And you're in agreement with the condition about the sign permit?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay. Great. Anybody have any comments or questions about this application? No, everybody's shaking their head no. Okay, that sounds good. Yes, no, I appreciate this. And my only question was about the routering, and that was answered as well. So that's good.
Right.
And it matches nicely with the other signs that are out there coordinate. So that's looks good. So
thank you.
Yeah. So with that, I will make a motion to approve this minor project with one condition. If I could have a second.
Second.
Thank you, Brad. Lori, if you could call the roll, please.
Yes, Ms. Gilger,
Yes.
Mr. Korosky,
Yep.
Mr. Hamilton,
Yes.
Corporal Morris,
Yes.
Mr. Stanford,
Yes.
Mr. Fagrell,
Yes.
and Ms. Roush.
Yes. Thank you very much, Cindy.
Thank you.
Our next item is another determination, and this is for Ohio Health at 250 West Bridge Street. This is for exterior modifications to replace some existing brick and windows for an existing building there. We saw this site a couple months ago for sign and some additional exterior modifications. So Zach is going to present what they're proposing for our review.
Perfect. Thank you, Jenny. Well, good afternoon again. This is a request for review and determination of another minor project for Ohio Health. The Ohio Health site is highlighted in yellow on the screen. This site is located at 250 West Bridge Street, northwest of the intersection of Shawan Falls Drive and West Bridge Street. This site is zoned Indian Run neighborhood. Shown on the screen is the south elevation of the existing building that fronts West Bridge Street. As Jenny had stated prior, this site was before ART back in at the end of 2019, so it has been a little longer than a few months, but construction is still going on for their approved new building entrance, which you can see on the screen here. With the construction of the new building entrance addition, the contractor did come across several areas of the existing brick veneer that were deteriorating and were falling apart as well as falling off. You can see just to the top right of the new addition, the contractor was required to do some emergency repairs of brick. The existing brick is no longer developed, so they had placed something that was as close as it could get to what's existing. However, you can see there are some discrepancies between the colors. So the applicant is before us today to address the damaged veneer in the H windows to complement the new building addition. So the applicant is proposing the addition of new accent brick as well as the replacement of all existing windows in an existing store system. On the east elevation, so shown on the screen are the south and east elevations. The south elevation is the front elevation that fronts West Bridge Street. The applicant is proposing a sienna blend Veller brick, which is more of a dark red brown brick. This brick selection is an Ohio Health standard brick, which they use throughout many of their branches across Ohio, and is proposed to serve as an accent brick color to the existing brick, and replaces the existing deteriorating brick along the parapet as well as between the lintels of the four largest first floor windows on all elevations. The applicant will also be replacing the existing windows with the Countier aluminum windows and doors. These will be silver framed to match the building addition on the south elevation. For the brick replacement percentage, the requirement is that no elevation can change more than 25% per material on all elevations. The applicant has provided this calculation, and you can see the north and west elevations as well and what is changing. The applicant is well under the 25% threshold for all elevations, meeting this requirement for a minor project. And shown on the screen is a rendering to show what the new brick accent would look like when referencing the existing brick, as well as the new silver aluminum framed windows to complement the new building addition. Staff has reviewed this application to all applicable criteria and are recommending approval with no conditions today. I'm happy to answer any questions that the team may have. Otherwise, the applicant is here to address any questions and comments you have. Thank you.
Thank you, Zach. Does anybody have any initial questions for Zach before the applicant has the opportunity to speak? Okay, is the applicant present and have anything to share with the group before we review your application?
Yeah, I'm here, Dennis. No, Zach did a great job. Nothing to add.
Great. Anyone have any questions or comments about the proposal? Sean.
I do have one real quick, and it's just I guess it's a question. Brad, you probably could weigh into this more from your building side. But typically when you see a separation of color like that, should there be a separator course in the brick or something to delineate that change?
I had that same question, actually.
Meaning, is it required by code?
No, not code, just an aesthetic thing.
No,
It
I mean,
wouldn't cost anything different. It's just whether or not you have a detail.
yeah, no, in fact, I like the elevation views they show. I think it looks good.
Yeah, I had the same question. Actually, it was more about at the top in particular where it abuts the metal roof. The current building, or at least the current elevations, show a soldier course at the top. It doesn't just run straight up into there. So I guess I was wondering if I couldn't tell from the drawings if it replicates that soldier course at the top.
Excuse me, this is Jennifer Carney Triplett. I'm the project architect on this project. We are planning to replace the brick like for like, and there is currently a soldier course at the top that we will replace as a soldier course.
Okay. Okay. Sean, or is that something you wanted to request between the two, or you're just?
Not necessarily. I just, in my experience with older buildings and stuff, not necessarily here. I've seen it done this way. I think it can be an attractive little element. I've seen it where it corbels out a little bit of a course just as a separator, or using a soldier course or a different course. I think it can be attractive, but it's not necessary. It was a question.
Yeah. Jennifer, what are your thoughts about that?
Well, currently, the way the building is constructed, the brick is mortared to the CMU, which is part of the problem of this building, and it has caused a lot of water infiltration. So in our detailing, we would hope to add some type of an air gap in there so we can put a weatherproof barrier over the CMU and get a little bit of relief from the water infiltration that we're having now. The building itself was constructed of non-galvanized steel, so that water infiltration has affected some of the steel that's in the building as well. So we're trying to mitigate as much water infiltration as we can with this brick replacement as well. And part of the brick replacement is due to the fact that the lintels over those large windows have rusted and deteriorated and had to be replaced. So we'll be working with that. We will probably try to get at least a 3/4 inch air gap in there. Any more than that might be a little difficult, but that would be the ideal scenario for construction, I believe, just so we can get some weatherproof, a weatherproof barrier and a little bit of an air gap in there.
So does that mean that brick will stand slightly proud of the existing to get that air gap?
Correct.
Okay. I think that'll be attractive, but.
Yeah. Is there a reason too that it's not wrapping around? It looked like on part of the building, there are some areas where it wasn't wrapping around. Can you explain why? You just don't need to replace it over there because the windows didn't change over there? Is that why?
We were planning to replace it over the large windows, but not the small windows. And we're not doing any brick on the back of the building. There's another elevator shaft at the back of the building, which is only 4 years old, and we're not touching any of that brick. So we're just going to dye the top course of brick into that elevator addition onto the north. That's on the north side of the building.
Okay, that's helpful. Thank you. Okay, anybody else have any other questions or concerns? Okay, so with that, then I will make a motion to approve this application. If I can get a second, that would be great.
I will second.
Thank you, Colleen. Lori, if you can call roll.
Yes. Mr. Krolewski,
Yes.
Corporal Morris,
Yes.
Mr. Stanford,
Yes.
Mr. Figrell,
Yes.
Mr. Hamilton,
Yes.
Ms. Gilger,
Yes.
and Ms. Roche.
Yes. Great, thank you both very much for providing background and being here today. Then the last item on our agenda is for a Perry Custom Homes. It's for a sign at 6351 Sawmill Road. And Chase is going to be our presenter in lieu of Julia today. So I will let you get a chance to get started and then we will review this application.
Okay. I apologize. I'm having some technical difficulties. There we go. Can you all see this okay? Okay. Yeah, so as was mentioned, this is a minor project review. The request today is for approval of the minor project review, and this is for the installation of a new wall sign for Perry Custom Homes in the Bridge Street district. So the entire site is outlined in yellow on your screen. This is the Trader Joe's Shopping Center. It is located southwest of the intersection of West Dublin Granville Road with Sawmill Road, and the tenant space in question is indicated by the yellow star on your screen. So this is what exists today. There was a jewelry store in the tenant space in question prior to Perry. So that is how it exists today. This is the proposed location, so it gives you a better idea of kind of where that is in the shopping center. It is approximately 370 feet from Sawmill Road. And so this is the proposed sign. Per code, the tenant space is permitted a sign of a maximum of 25 square feet in size, given the 25-foot width of the storefront system. The sign is proposed to be installed on the existing sign band with the rest of the signs in the center, and is proposed to be installed at a height of approximately 11 feet 10 inches. The site is constructed of a routed aluminum panel and is internally illuminated with white LEDs, which is consistent with other signs in the center. And per code, this sign is permitted to be a maximum of 3 colors, and that is what the applicant is proposing today. The tan background counts as 1, and then the copy will be 2 colors, primarily black and also a portion of it red. So with that, this was reviewed against all applicable criteria. Staff is recommending approval with 1 condition today, just a general condition that the applicant apply for and successfully obtain a permanent sign permit. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions you all may have, and the applicant is also in attendance today.
Great, thank you, Chase. Does anybody have any initial questions for Chase? I see that the applicant is here. Do you have anything to add to this?
No, I don't.
Okay, great, thank you. I think you've answered all my questions, Chase, about the meeting the code and the sign design. Does anybody have any follow-up questions or concerns they want to highlight for this before we take formal action? Okay, great. I don't see any, and I didn't see any public comment for this application either. So with that, I will make a motion to approve this minor project with the 1 condition about the sign permit. Can I have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you, Brad. Lori, if you can call the roll.
Sure. Ms. Gilbert,
Yes.
Mr. Stanford,
Yes.
Corporal Morris,
Yes.
Mr. Hamilton,
Yes.
Mr. Korowski,
Yes.
Mr. Fagro,
Yes.
and Ms. Roush.
Yes. Great, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, well, that's all of our formal items on the agenda. I know Chase wanted to share some changes that we made, hopefully to everybody's benefit in reviewing materials and how we run our meeting. So I'll let him talk through that here really quickly.
Yeah, so just a quick update. You all probably have noticed the agenda with the links to reports and materials, as well as a couple other documents were sent out last Friday. So really moving forward, we determined that the Friday before scheduled ART meetings, we want to get those materials out to you all. And this really coincides with the shift to one meeting per month. Meetings have been a bit busier and are taking a bit more time. So we just want to ensure that you all have adequate time to review those reports and materials, and to ensure, we have productive meetings and robust conversations. Also, this allows us on our end as staff to get those materials, the report out to applicants prior to the day before the meeting, as we had been doing in the past. So that gives them time to review the report, ask any questions they may have before the meeting as well. So that's really it with that. I guess, if anyone has any suggestions or recommendations, please feel free to reach out to me via email or call me. We're happy to take those into consideration as well. So that's it.
Great, thank you, Chase. I appreciate you guys doing that, because again, we are getting a lot more applications and need more time to review before the meeting. So I think that will help just to have a couple more days to look at those materials and reports and review them ahead of time. So that'll be nice to see that. So we'll definitely, yeah, if there's anything else, let us know. But otherwise, that's all I had on our agenda for today. So with that, we will adjourn, and I'll give Chase a second to stop the live stream.